Welcome back to the Chesapeake Bay Croquet Club in Hartfield, Virginia. You're getting to know this place now. The new 16 right there and the original 8 beyond. It's September 15th and 16th, 2024, and we're here for the North American AC One Ball Open. This is a new one for us. It's a lead-in to the AC Selection 8s. The tournament director is Stuart Lawrence. And the tournament managers, as usual, here are Nancy Crouch and Macey White. I get manager and director mixed up because in the United States, the tournament director is the person who runs the tournament, technically, and in the WCF nomenclature, it's the tournament manager that runs the tournament. This is the official YouTube channel of the United States Croquet Association, which is bringing you this material in the interest of developing croquet in all its various manifestations in the United States. Equally interested in developing croquet is Don Oakley in the Croquet store, providing all the equipment needs at all levels and all disciplines. We also want to thank channel sponsor Chris Barley, who's been very generous over the past 3 years. We start off with a block play match between Macey White in green and black, the developer of this huge complex, and Doug Grimsley, White, the grizzled veteran of AC and American rules croquet. Macey's taking the hoop shot first off is certainly one of the options. Probably not the most popular, but maybe the most fun. What a start. One ball rules are the same as standard AC. One ball competitions are used to do tiebreakers in AC tournaments, for instance, to save time. And of course, the one ball game comes up when you do, for instance, a New Zealand TPO and peg out one ball of each player. In that case, whoever does the pegging out doesn't get any hoop lifts. In this case, they both get hoop and wiring lifts. The Chesapeake Bay Croquet Club eschews the rule about all white in croquet tournaments in order to make the atmosphere more welcoming to beginners. Be interesting to know whether that's actually effective or not. They're on the new section at the Croquet Club. It has 16 courts. They're on number 13. The court behind Doug is number 9, which is in the corner, is meant to be the show court along with 13 because those two can be monitored directly from the press box, which I think you'll see later in the video. But 9 has been played with water damage and bare spots, so it's not going to be ready for prime time this season. Certainly not for the Golf Croquet Worlds, which are coming up in a couple of months. I'm editing this after the Golf Croquet Worlds, so check out the live streams on the channel. After we got our sea legs, we think we did a halfway decent job. And the games are exciting, especially the final. Doug's just going to follow Macey around for a little bit, but as soon as their balls get close enough, he'll start shooting because just following, he's not going to catch up. The scoreboard obviously displays clip position, what hoop the relevant ball is for, not the score. You can figure out the score yourself. He probably meant for that to go left instead of right, so he might get wired behind the hoop. Because now Doug's close enough that he's going to start firing away. I think Doug's always used an Irish grip. Macey started out, I think, with an Irish grip, but he switched to Solomon when he got invited to be on the national golf croquet team. And he's gotten pretty good with it. And now, of course, since there are no other balls in the game, Doug has to be careful not to put blue in wired position. But the lift is to balk in this game, not to contact like it is in American rules. So it's not the end of the world to give up a wiring lift. In fact, I think he probably did this on purpose because shooting at that from the end of a balk is tricky. And of course, now that he made a hoop, he's clean. He can wire himself from yellow all he wants. Oh my goodness. That's probably the worst possible outcome of that shot. Obviously, practicing a little two-ball break play makes sense if you know you're going to play in a one-ball tournament. Needs to be a lot better than that. I'll bet Grimsley has run the table in two balls at some point in his career. And he's wiring himself on purpose, knowing that Macey's going to have to move yellow quite a bit toward the east on the B-balk to take the shot. So yellow made one back. Grimsley gets a lift with blue to whatever block line he wants, which is why yellow was left out in the middle and not set up to approach two back. Keep the position of the yellow ball in mind for a minute or two. Doug's not fond of golf croquet, but that would have been a fabulous shot in that discipline. He's trying to decide whether to shoot the hoop or go guard penultimate. But since Macey got way off the lawn to avoid hoop lift vulnerability, Doug might as well make his hoop and try to catch up a little bit more before he goes on the attack again. That's a great shot. They both had makeable hoop shots, but they want to set up so they can get down to their next hoop rather than just making this one and being hampered afterwards. Macey's in position good enough that he could make Rover on his next turn, then Doug would be in trouble, so he has to attack. That was not an intentional jawsing. He was trying to make 4 back because that gave Macey a wiring lift. Not an easy one, but if he hits this, he could finish. All he has to do is score hoop 3 with a line shot, just like he did at hoop 1 to start the game. In the AC Worlds, they'll be having that one watched by a referee. Holy cow, look at that. Holy cow, look at that one too. Does Grimsley have another wire? Apparently there's room for blue to get between that hoop and yellow, so he's not wired. Doug can't really safely shoot at yellow now because if he misses, his ball ends up on the south boundary. Macey picks it up after he makes Rover and finishes. He could set up for 4 back, which is what I would probably do. But who am I to tell Doug Grimsley what he ought to do? Instead of setting up for 4, he's going to lag to the peg knowing that Macy will probably be wired from blue after it makes rover, and this keeps Macey from lagging close to the peg himself. Now, what Macey could do on his next turn is just barely tap yellow through the hoop and then turn around and shoot at the peg backwards through the hoop. And Doug is seeking to prevent that. So quick, should he shoot at the ball or shoot at the peg? He hits the ball, he's got 2 shots to get to the peg. So the outcome is the same. Which shot is harder? I think he's making the right call here because the distance to blue looks like it's a bit more than 40% than the distance to the peg. Here's the diagram. The target is the peg. Striker ball is on the left, and the ball B is being positioned so the shot on the ball is the same challenge as the shot on the peg. When you work out the math, it's really the ratio of the size of the peg to the size of the ball that determines this, and it's weirdly coincidental that that ratio plus 1 equals the square root of 2. And as you can see, the equivalent distance is 1.414. So if the ball is more than 40% past the peg, you should shoot at the peg. Less than that, you should shoot at the ball. This takes into account only the angular displacement of the balls in the peg, nothing about court conditions, what's on the other boundary you're going to end up next to, etc. But he's going to do it again. Now, this time, if Macey's going to shoot, he should shoot at the ball. That's what I would have done, because if he misses, he's way in the other corner, as far away as he can get from 4 back, making it very hard for Doug to make any progress. But Macey's going to play the waiting game. I'll put a link in the description to that discussion we just went through. It's a general article about target distances that I published in the 4th edition of the weekly Croquet break in 2020. The analysis is mine, so I'm sure somebody like Ian Plummer will find ways to shoot holes in it. Would love to hear the comments. There's no way Doug can set up, so he's just going to stay there. This time Macey's going to take that shot at the ball. He must have read the article. Or actually, most of the time you can just eyeball it and get it right. Now, I would suggest that blue set up for 4 back now, because if Macey tries to lag to the peg, blue won't be all that far away. And if he shoots at the peg and misses, blue will be able to pick him up. But Doug doesn't want him lagging. And that'll be the game. So Macey's going to peg out and win game 1, 13-10 over Doug Grimsley. They're playing a Swiss. Everybody's playing basically 2 games against everybody else. So they're going to play a second one, which will start right now. A little more conventional approach to the opening. Leah Tice that if he misses, puts yellow in corner 3 and lets blue set up.
Keep going, Brian.
This is a good drill to do every now and then. Try a 2-ball break. It's said that Robert Fulford has done it for 50 or 60 hoops and only stopped because everybody wanted to go to lunch. All the good players know what their longest 2-ball break was. I think mine is 7 or 8. That's a little aggressive based on where yellow is. A lot of folks would have cornered or gone to the west boundary. the guard hoop too. Macey's playing lots of golf croquet these days. And there he goes. He might get a little better hoop shot if he took off from the other side of blue. But he's doing it that way so the blue will still be there when he makes the hoop, and he might get a decent rush to hoop 3. In American rules, you do it the other way around. Kick blue over toward the exit line from the hoop, and then when you hit blue on the hoop shot, it's not a Croquet in American rules, and it sets up a perfect rush to hoop 3. A lot of folks would still try to rush blue toward hoop 3, but I think he thinks it's safer to kick it out mid-lawn and do a long takeoff so that blue doesn't have a good chance to Croquet yellow in the next turn because he can't hide from it. Otherwise, it's a wiring loop. So when he sets up, he has to be sure that blue has a wide open shot at yellow. And that's the other way to do it. Had yellow gotten a hoop shot there, blue probably would have shot at it, but now he's got time to try to catch up a little before he attacks. Perfectly executed, but tactically cheeky because Macey can come through and pick him up without too much trouble. I thought he might be looking for a spot to wire yellow from blue, but Pythagoras says this one's a little less than 8.5 yards, so that's well within his critical distance. Unless, of course, the hoop gets in the way. That's the only explanation for that miss. So that miss hit by Macey let Doug make up 2 hoops. He's only down by 1 now, illustrating that if the lead is small, being in second place has its advantages, just like at the Indy 500. Ooh, another unfortunate short hoop outcome. Let's see if this one hurts him. He got away with it in the first game. Looks like he's going to see if he can wire blue from yellow with 4 back when he sets up in front of Pinot, but that doesn't make any sense because Macey gets a lift regardless. And this is like a short duffer tice. He misses this from the end of B-Block, I'll be surprised. Dougie's lucky day. He's tempting fate. Macey gets another whack at it. Dougie's really lucky day. That's a better call, I think. He passed because Macey has 0 chance of shooting at blue, whereas if he made it to hoop, he'd have to go hide someplace. This way, he can make the hoop and maybe make Rover in the same turn. So while this is playing out, I want to thank again our channel sponsors, Chris Barley, who's been very generous over the last several years. This is brought to you, of course, by the USCA. We are the official YouTube channel thereof in their mission to promote croquet in all its various forms. And for all your equipment needs, the Croquet store by Don Oakley and Oakley Woods Croquet. Last chance to keep it alive. So close. So Doug Grimsley prevails in game 2 by 4 hoops. Macey won the first one by 3. So if they needed a tiebreaker, Doug's up by 1 net point. So give us a like, subscribe, hit that bell. There's more to come from the North American One Ball Open.